And one more thing. Jensen, I'm going to make you a co-host so that you can monitor the chat. Okay, so Jensen will be monitoring the chat and answering questions as needed so that we can move through this as quickly as we can. Okay, so the introduction, we're going to have an introduction to me and introduction to Jonan. We'll talk about the course concept and the basics of the syllabus, and then at the end we'll do a Q&A. And we are recording. Okay. All right, so who am I? I am Dr. Katie Stoddard. My preferred communication is email in Canvas. The reason being is I get so many emails in one day, and it's easier for me to keep track of my student emails if they come through Canvas. If you don't do that, preferred email is kstoddard@tamu.edu, and we'll talk about my communication policy a little bit later. But FYI, if 24 hours has gone by and I haven't answered you, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because I've gotten like 40 emails that day and I've gotten bogged down and something has happened. So just politely remind me that we have not resolved the thing that you asked me about, and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. It's usually within a couple hours that I email you the first time around, but I'm usually very responsive. If I haven't, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just I have so many emails I'm trying to manage. I am in the plant pathology building, which is on West Campus, but I'm only there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so it's not really ideal to come drop by. If you would like to meet with me, I've got office hours, so you can see the office hour link in Canvas, and I'm also available. My office hours are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I'm also available by appointment. So we can find a time to meet if my office hours don't work for you. Okay, so a little bit of introduction to me and why I'm here and why I teach this course and why I'm passionate about it. So none of you have had me before, so I'm just gonna let you all know that I am a proud Aggie. I am a graduate of Texas A&M. So I graduated in 2005 and I graduated with my BESC degree. So I am one of the rare examples of I have been in this class, I took this class, and I got my BESC degree. And then from there, I went on and I got my master's in water management and hydrologic science here at Texas A&M. So I graduated in 05 and then in 07. From there, I went to work as an environmental consultant for KBA Enviroscience. And after that, I realized I really wanted to do more work in science and I wanted to get my PhD. So I was living in North Texas at the time. And so I went to the University of North Texas. And so there I got my PhD in environmental science and super excited about that. My first professional appointment was at Texas A&M in Texarkana. So that's drive east in Texas until you reach the Arkansas border and turn back a block. And that's where I lived. It was a nice place to start and made some really good friends and colleagues out there. But after about 2 years, I was recruited to come home. And I'm super excited to say that I am home at last. And I am teaching in the bioenvironmental sciences program from which I graduated. So I have been in your shoes. I took this class from my mentor, Dr. Heather Wilkinson. And when I took it, it was her first year of teaching it. So I think I took it in 2000. That would have been 2001 or 2. So it's been a little while. It's had some revisions, but I'm super excited to be teaching this class. It's paved the way for my career, as you might imagine. Okay, so a little bit about me. So when I'm not working, I really enjoy endurance athletics. So I've done an Ironman, I've done 2 marathons. I enjoy science education. The middle picture is me at one of my conferences. So I'm a member of the Society of Environmental Chemistry and Toxicology. So that was the area of my research in my PhD, was on pharmaceuticals in the environment and some of the sociological environmental impacts and environmental connections there. So I'm really passionate about the environment, if you haven't picked up on that. I also have a very small child. This is her in the snow recently. She's about 3. So that's why we have meetings at 8:30, because she's not awake and I can't have this meeting when she's awake in my house. So that's a little bit about me. So I'd like Jensen now, if Jensen, if you're available, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I am Jensen Hayter. I'm the TA for this course. I've been this is my third year as a TA for this course, and I've really enjoyed working with students the last few years. I got my undergraduate degree at Brigham Young University. I majored in microbiology with an emphasis in environmental microbiology. That's also where I met my wife. You can see here we like to hike and explore. We actually met on a field trip at Yellowstone, so we really like being outside, especially when we're in Yellowstone. And I also have a small child who is around 2, as you can see in the bottom picture there. I am a fourth-year PhD candidate in the Department of Plant Pathology and Microbiology, and my research is focused on spatial variation in abiotic factors like available moisture and heat and soil type and how that affects plant diseases. I've mentored a couple of undergraduates in the last couple of years. I've had a really good time doing that. And if you saw in your introductory module, I really enjoy mentoring and answering questions, especially those who are thinking about going to grad school or contemplating a research career. I love to field questions, so feel free to reach out for that. And I offer virtual office hours by appointment if that's needed. So don't hesitate to reach out ever. I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Thank you very much, Jensen. All right, so you've gotten to meet us. The other person on the line, I'll have introduce himself briefly, and then we will have one quick little activity. Here's Jensen's email address. It's also in the Canvas. Dr. Donaldson, if you're available, would you like to introduce yourself briefly, and then we will come back to you when we get to the design thinking project.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm Dr. Jonathan Donaldson, and I'm in the Center for Teaching Excellence here at Texas A&M University. I'm a learning scientist. That means I study what is learning and how do we make that happen. So I don't study education, which is kind of confusing for some people because in general, education people tend to study teaching, but I don't really study teaching. I study learning and how to make learning happen. I have several areas of expertise in my research, and design thinking is one of the top areas that I do a lot of research about. And I've, over the last about 5 years, I've been developing the model that you're going to be going through in this course. Let's see, anything else about me? I've been here since 2019. Before that, I was at Drexel University in Philadelphia. Before that, I was at Oregon State University in Corvallis, Oregon.
Thank you, Dr. Donaldson. Okay, so we're going to have a quick opportunity to meet some of your peers. I don't want this to be you just listening to me. So we're going to do a quick breakout room. It'll probably be about 2 minutes because we'll have 1 minute to chat, and then I'll give you a 1 minute warning that the rooms are about to close. But we're going to do a quick breakout room. So please look over the slide and see in this breakout room, you are going to exchange the following with your whoever is in your room. So my name is, and I enjoy the following hobbies, and there will be about 2 to 3 people in your room. About 3. Okay. Have fun.
I didn't go to my breakout room.
That's okay. I think, let me see who I set it up so
5.
that there's 2 people in the room, so they're fine.
Okay.
I am sorry to hear you're not feeling well.
Yeah, yesterday I got some pain all around the abdomen area. It's not like a virus type pain. It's like muscles, like super painful. And I didn't do anything to make them super painful. So I don't know. So last night I couldn't sleep. And so today I was in a haze all day, but I had meetings from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Oh boy, I hope you can find a way to take some time off when you're not feeling well.
Well, these meetings were Ideals Lab meetings, and
Okay.
more people needs me.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was thinking, I don't think I do have a slide here with the
Okay.
but I don't think I need to share the slide. I could just talk about it, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And you have that visual in the course.
Yes, I do. I believe I can't remember if it's in my slides or not. So, all right, we're going to bring it back. All right, welcome back. You should have met some new friends. So we're going to move on talking with the course. Okay, so I like to put this up because the course is generally always under construction. I'm always trying something new. I'm always trying to improve upon the last semester. And generally, my students are often my guinea pigs for trying those new things. And I'll share as we go along some of the things that have changed over the course of the many years that I've taught this. I've been teaching this class here since 2015, but in total, I've really been teaching it since 2013. So if you're not aware, I'm not going to read all of this text to you, but if you're not aware, this is a core curriculum course. And really what that boils down to is there are 4 key components that need to be in a core curriculum course in the life sciences. That is critical thinking, communication, empirical and quantitative skills, and team project. That's why the things are where they are. So if you'll notice, this is the slide that tells you what those elements are. And then on the next slide and all of this, I didn't include it because there's too much text. But if you look in the syllabus, I've got all of the learning objectives and they're mapped to these different types of learning objectives. So if you're asking yourself, this is an online class, why do I have to do a team project? Well, you signed up for a core curriculum class and a teamwork is required for that. But there's a lot of good benefits of learning how to do teamwork, especially in an online setting. I'll tell you that I teach this class in 5 weeks over the summer, and they do the team project in 4. So you have a little bit longer to work with. So it's really quite manageable, and I've trimmed it down quite a bit since last semester, or the team project. So if you haven't gotten your textbook, I want to let you know that this is the textbook. It is Environment, the Science Behind the Stories by Withgott and Lopsaata, the 7th edition. If you have the 6th editions, that's fine. If you have the 5th edition, that's probably going to be okay too. The differences are probably going to be in some of the numbers that they put in the human population chapter. It'll probably be okay, regardless of which one you have. There's a hardbound text print and there's an e-text. You need to use an authorized textbook source. There are pirated copies on the internet, and I do not recommend that. It can wind you in a lot of trouble. So make sure you get an authentic copy. The e-text version is very affordable to rent. And I will tell you that if you ordered it and you're waiting on it, I give you the first 5 chapters of the 6th edition in the course. So if you're waiting for your book to arrive, it's okay. You're going to be all right. And I'll make sure that you have access to the book. And you should have about 2.5 weeks worth of reading I can provide you while you wait for your book to come in. Okay, so how this course breaks down. So I have decided, for a variety of reasons, that exams are not necessarily the best way for me to gauge your learning and engage you as a learner. So there are many ways that you will earn points in this course. So if you look at here, this is really the large breakdown. So there are reading and mini lecture quizzes. There are weekly module tasks where you need to do something, create something, because creation is really where the learning is going to happen. There's going to be 3 worldview reflections. You'll notice that the points value goes up as you go along, so that as you learn, as you improve the process of your worldview reflection, it's worth more points later in the semester, which follows some of the best practices in pedagogy, which is the best practices for teaching and learning. And then there's 160 points associated with the team project. And the team project is the design thinking team project, which we will discuss at length at a variety of points in the course. So the reading mini lecture quizzes, these are posted in the week. So there's usually 1 or 2. It's never more than 2. The most important thing that you know about these is that you must master the syllabus and the academic honesty quiz before you can access those. That's really the most important thing. Other than that, they're always going to be due at Mondays at 2 p.m. That is my time that things are, if you're wondering what time things are due, it's always 2 p.m. And generally it's either going to be a Friday or a Monday. We'll talk about how that pattern works. The weekly module tasks. So every week you will be asked to read your textbook, do your weekly reading quiz and mini lecture quiz, which will go over the content for that week. And then you will be asked to take what you have read and create something, to do something with it, to apply it, because that's where you're really going to start to learn and work with it. So some weeks you might make, like 1 week you make an infographic, 1 week you make a quiz and you do that, you give that quiz to friends and you take it and you reflect on it. So there's a variety of things that you're going to do. The points will vary between 20 and 40. Most often it's 30 and 40. There's a few 20 points along the way. But generally you're going to be earning a small amount of points throughout the course of the semester. There will be on occasions you will need to share what you've created on a Friday and in a discussion board. And so it's shared on a Friday, so that Friday at 2 p.m., so that your peers have time to review what you've created and provide feedback by the following Monday. Otherwise, submissions are going to be due on Mondays at the end of the week. And I want to make sure that we're clear on what I mean about the end of the week. So the way I set up my course, so let's see, today is Monday. So today is Monday, January 25th. My course runs from week 2, which is where we're now, runs from today until next Monday at 2 p.m. So there will be items that are due for this week that are due on next Monday at 2 p.m. So on Mondays, there may be times where things overlap, like this morning, week 1 overlapped into week 2. So keep track of what week you're actually in. But the reason I do Monday due dates is because I need some rest on the weekends. And I used to have Sunday due dates, and students would email me on Sundays, and I generally don't work and I don't check my email much on Sunday. I need some rest. And so I wasn't available as I wanted to be for students at the time they were turning things in. So that's why the due dates are Monday at 2 p.m. I don't recommend that you wait until 1:40 to start working. It's there so that you can pace yourself as you go along. But you have until Monday at 2 p.m. for many things. Okay, so we will do 3 worldview essays. These are one of the favorite assignments of students in my course. So there's going to be 3 of them. So the first one's worth 50, the next one's worth 55, the following one is worth 60. They're going to be assessed using Perceptive, which we'll learn about. There's modules about, or there's a video about in this week's module. But Perceptive is a cloud-based, double-blind peer review software. And what's going to happen is you're going to write your worldview using a template and following a rubric. You're going to post it, or you're going to submit it with Perceptive, and then you will work through the peer review process in Perceptive to give scores to your peers. I will use those scores to provide. I will use those scores with a variety of other things, and that creates your grade. And then you also provide feedback to the students that gave you scores and comments. And the whole point of this is that you get to, there's a variety of points, but one of them is that you're going to be able to see what other people's worldviews are. It used to be that my TA and I graded 200 essays every 2 weeks. It didn't really work very well for us, and the students didn't get to see each other's worldviews. So now you have the opportunity to see someone else's worldview and then use critical thinking and empirical and quantitative skills to work through the peer review process. A worldview is really just how you see the world around you. So in the worldview essays, I will give you prompts and I will ask you, what is your worldview on this? I make it very, very clear that you are not being scored on what your worldview is. You're being scored on how well you can, how you explain what your worldview is using course terms, because you're going to be told to integrate course terms and define them while you're writing your worldview. So I'm not scoring you on what your worldview is. That's not what this is about. Whatever your worldview is, this is not about, is that the right or wrong worldview? That's not what this is about. It's about, can you explain your worldview using the core concepts? So can you integrate what you're learning and use it to explain your worldview? The other thing that you're going to be asked to do is to reflect on how you formed your worldview. The reflection part is usually where students falter a bit. What I'm asking you there is to think about how this happened. How did you come to think about the world the way that you do? And that specific thing. So, for example, one of the prompts that I usually give is the one-child policy that China used to have. So at one point, China had a one-child policy. And so I give you a background to that, and I ask you, does a government have the right to tell its citizens how many children they should have? There is no right or wrong answer here. There are right and wrong definitions for the terms that you use to explain your worldview. That's where it's right and wrong. But you also reflect on how you formed your worldview. So I'm just going to tell you now, this is how I was raised. This is what my religion teaches me. This is what I read in a book. Are all really good starts, but not official, not enough of a reflection. So you would need to build onto that. Tell me why being raised in the family that you were raised helped you to form your worldview. What specific experiences did you have? What specific things did you read that formed your worldview? So, and if it's this class, you need to provide specific examples of what about this class has helped you form your worldview, if that's what it is. So I also give you 3 prompts and tell you to pick one of the 3 for each of the essays. So you need to think about if there's something that you don't want to share, that's why you feel the way that you do, then pick a different prompt. If you're not comfortable sharing what it was that caused you to form your worldview, by all means, pick a different one and provide something else. But I will tell you that it's double blind and no one's going to know who you are except me. I will be able to know who everyone is. All right, so we're going to do one more Meet Your Friend. So with this one, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell your new friends what you're most excited about. And we're going to do this for about 1.5 minutes. So we're going to recreate rooms. And okay, see you in about 1.5 minutes. So Jonah, the next slide is the design thinking project. So we can have you speak then, and then have you talk out.
This looks like it's, this is exactly the same kind of thing I would have put up as a slide. So perfect.
Okay.
However, the visual you have here is actually been
Stated.
revised.
Yeah, it has. I did not have time to, I didn't fix my slides from the last semester. So yeah, it's the correct one is in the eCampus or Canvas.
Yeah. And the differences are probably not noticeable to any students.
Oh no, they're not going to know the difference. Okay, welcome back after having met your new set of friends. Okay, so now you should know up to about four new people. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to chat about briefly is the team project. So there will be many times that we talk about this, but I'm just going to introduce it here and have Dr. Donaldson talk about it as well. There's a team project. We are going to be using what is called the design thinking process to have you all come up with real solutions for real environmental problems. So I wanted it to be realistic. As in the past, the team project has had multiple iterations, but research shows that students get much more excited, much more motivated, and learn more when they're actually doing something that really matters. So the design thinking project is going to be an opportunity for you to work with a team to think up new creative ways to solve a real problem. And I want to stress here that your solution is going to need to be executable by you as a student. So I'm just telling you now, your solution is not going to be decarbonize all of fossil fuels, because you as a team of 5 students are unlikely to be able to accomplish that in the next 14 weeks. There's a variety of things that you can do though, and we will talk about it, but there are going to be 5 phases of the design thinking process, and we're going to work through our way. And I'm just going to tell you now that it's probably going to be uncomfortable. So, but being uncomfortable in the learning process actually means that you're pushing your boundaries and you're learning something new. I'll tell you, I've gone through this process twice, and the first time I did it, I was a little lost, and I didn't understand exactly what I was doing, and I didn't understand the point of why I was doing it. But I got to the end and I was like, holy cow, that was a really cool way to think of a new solution in a collaborative setting. So I'm just going to tell you now, embrace the ambiguity, embrace the challenge, and embrace the new way of trying to think about something. So there will be teams of 5 that will develop a solution to wicked environmental problems. So everyone has posted, by this point, you should have posted your idea for a team project in the problem finding page. And so I will be whittling that down and coming up with teams for which students will self-select. At this point, I'd like to turn the time over a little bit to Dr. Donaldson to chat about the design thinking process, because he is our resident expert, and that's why he's here to talk with us.
Yeah, thank you. So I will also be available to come back and talk with you more in greater detail, or even if your group just wants to meet me, then I am making myself available for that. In the chat box here in Zoom, have any of you ever gone through a process that's called a design thinking process. And you can just put it up there in the chat. I'll give you just a second. Okay, there's a bunch of no's coming in. Very good idea. It's like engineering. Yes, it is.
That's very likely. Yeah.
It's very similar, but there are some major differences. Actually, that would be a good point to make right now. In the engineering design cycle, then there's usually not as much of the divergent thinking, which is coming up with many possible solutions and then narrowing it down. Often in engineering design, you just go for the first best solution and start working it out. The other big difference from engineering is that this is a human-centered design thing. And so there's a lot of thinking about other people and talking to other people about the problem that you're trying to address and how they might experience any solution you come up with, that sort of thing. So what is design thinking? Design thinking is a creative problem-solving process, but it's also a way of thinking. And how did it come to be? It came to be because researchers have been studying experts in many different fields and trying to figure out what makes an expert an expert. And after all of that, many decades of research, it kind of boiled down to, well, they do design thinking. They do it in medicine, they do it in law, they do it in sociology, they do it in just any field you can think of. Sometimes they do it in academia, but out there in like what I might call the real world, like organizations, nonprofit organizations, such, they do the design thinking process a lot. And it's a group process. It doesn't work so well if you do it individually, although it is possible to do it, but the results are always much better when it's in a group. The way this process is set up is it's different than any team project you've probably ever done before. In most team projects, then they do what's known as cooperative learning. That means different members of the team take some aspect of the project, go off on their own, work it out, and then bring it back to the group. In design thinking, that is totally not happening. There's a few times when you'll be off on your own, but in most of the work itself, you're working with your group and going through each stage of the process with your group, not off on your own doing it. So that's called collaboration as opposed to cooperation. And I know that might be a little bit of a struggle for you guys, but just wanted to say right now, working in a team is the way that experts out in the field, almost always, they're working in teams. Katie, is that true in your experience?
I would have to say yes. I will say that I know that students often have anxiety about possibly working in a team, what that's going to look like for their score, what's that going to look like for their grade, what value does this bring to me, regardless of how the team works out for you. So there are many benefits from this project. One, it's learning how to think through, find a solution to a very complex process that's creative and innovative. The one thing that I love so much about this is anything is possible. Like the solutions that I could come up with for the problems that you all have proposed are, I mean, my solution isn't necessarily the best, but you put 5 heads together and you start thinking about what are the many ways that we could do this, and possibilities begin to open up. And so I think learning how to work in a team, regardless of where you go in life, whether you go on for a professional degree, you go on into a professional career, whatever comes next for you, even if it's not working in the formal workforce, At some point, you're going to need to work in a team. You're going to need to know how to work with people. You're going to might have to work with difficult people that you don't agree with. Developing those skills now of how to do that is really helpful. And getting through the process of knowing I can get through a team project. I can do this. I know these skills and I know what I need to do. It's a really useful thing. So regardless of whether you're an environmental science student or not, I think this is a useful thing for you to develop some skills that you can take with you for that next phase of your life. So, and I will say that writing doesn't happen in a vacuum anymore generally. Most of the writing that I do now is in a team setting. So I wrote a grant over the winter break and it was entirely collaborative. So sometimes I was the lead, sometimes I put a lot of work in, and sometimes I didn't have time and I put in less work. So there's always going to be give and take, but you are going to have to learn how to work in a team, and it's going to be something that's going to be part of your life, probably for a good part. So there's a lot of benefits of doing this. And we'll talk about how the points are going to break down, because I do want to provide you that motivation of knowing that how you're going to earn your points. And a lot of the points are actually earned on an individual basis.
Yeah, I'd like to add a few more things real quick here. And that is that through the process, we have crafted, Dr. Stoddard and I have crafted the assignment instructions very carefully based on last semester, the semester before that, and lots of improvement along the way. But if at any point you're really confused, reach out to your friends, your teammates, but also reach out to us, and we'd be happy to help clarify anything. The other thing that I want to mention is that you probably have heard that a lot of people have anxiety about robots and AI taking over your job. And once you graduate, there's not going to be a job for you. If you have the way of problem solving, the design thinking way of doing this, there is no way your job is getting replaced, because it's creative, it's innovative, it's collaborative, it's very human. And so this is a very excellent skill for you to be developing, not just for this this course, although this is a perfect place to be learning how to do this. Also, you can use this in future courses you take if you have team projects. You can use this process, and because it's broken down into 5 stages, which are broken down into 10 stages, then you just have to see, okay, where are we now? Okay, we're doing this. You don't have to be struggling like, where do we go next? That sort of thing. So it's really clear, I think, once you get into the hang of it. The last thing that I wanted to mention was that your design solutions, you should not be judging yourself too much, and you shouldn't be censoring yourself too much, as in, oh, that's a stupid idea, I'll just keep quiet about that. Because in my experiences, the very best ideas in their initial form, when the idea was first put out there, it was silly and insane. Just completely, no, that's not going to ever work. And it morphed into something that was really cool. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So go with courage and trust the process and trust your own creativity. I know some people think, oh, I'm not creative. Nope, you're creative. Everybody's creative. We're creative every moment of our lives, actually. And so I think you're going to have a wonderful time with this. One more thing to mention about this, I will be emailing you at a future date with an invitation to participate in a research study. Dr. Stoddard, is now a good time to talk about that?
That's fine, yes.
Cool. So if you agree to participate, then it doesn't impact your grades whatsoever, whether you do or not. It doesn't change what you do in the class whatsoever. everybody who agrees to take part is doing exactly the same thing that people who didn't agree are doing. So that there's no extra work, there's no like interviews or anything like that. It's all exactly the same for everyone. The only difference being if you agree to participate, that will allow me to collect some of the data of things that you produced and your team produced and analyze them to figure out how to make this even better next semester. So
and Dr. Donaldson and I do that together, just FYI.
Yeah.
I just don't collect the data until after the term is done. I don't actually know who has even signed up, who has agreed to participate in the study until grades are finalized and submitted. I don't have any idea who has agreed and who hasn't agreed. So the point being is that your experience in the course is going to be identical whether you choose to participate in this research study or not. But if you choose, then you can help us to improve this process and this course for the next round of students and learn more about the design thinking process and how it can be used to enhance learning. So we encourage you to participate.
So if you're thinking, well, if it doesn't impact my experience or my grades at all, why would I do it? Well, for several reasons. One, it's going to make the future better for other people who come after you. And that is a beautiful thing. Please, please, please engage with us on that. But it also, after we finish analysis, we're going to publish it in a journal article so that other educators all over the world can create team projects that are good, that don't suck like a lot of team projects have in my experience, because there was no creativity, there was no individual, there was no, everybody was off doing their own thing, and then I had to take up the slack for the slackers. And it was just a miserable experience. But the way we've set this up, I do believe we're getting better and better and better at making this process awesome. So by agreeing to participate, and I'll email you, and basically you just click a survey link and you click, yes, I agree. And that's it, nothing else to do after that. Cool, cool, cool.
Okay.
And that's it for me. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I think I'm going to pop out now. Anything that any of you guys want to ask me about before I pop out?
This will not be the only time you have the chance to talk with him as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Donaldson.
Ooh,
Oh, is there a question?
participating in something we can put on a resume. I don't think so, but I do think the project that you do, the team project, absolutely. In fact, I've worked with some teams in some courses that after the semester was finished, they turned it into a startup company. I've seen it happen. I'm not expecting all you guys to do that, but there are options out there for the awesome stuff you're doing here to get on your resume.
Excellent
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Donaldson. Okay. So I'm going to minimize that. Okay. All right. So I talked about before about how the grade is set up. So here I want to point out, so I know this seems like a lot of things. The way that I've set up the course is that you will earn the grade that you want to earn. Do you want to earn an A? Okay. You put the work to earn an A. There's no test that you're going to have to question about whether you earned an A, B, C, D, F on. It doesn't happen in this course. You put the work in, you do the work on time, and generally you're going to come out with the grade that you're looking for. I will tell you the way the students do not do well in this course is they forget or they do not turn things in. That's generally what happens. The team project is set up so that you will earn you will earn 72% of your points individually by doing individual components of the project in a collective environment. So you've already if you've posted a problem on the Google Sheet. Great, you've already earned 4 points towards your team project. And then there's going to be points along the way where as you participate actively and turn the things in, you're going to earn a small amount of points. You'll discover that you are amassing small amounts of points throughout the entire semester. So just be actively engaged and you'll earn the points that you're looking to earn. I will tell you that I send out reminders every week ahead of due dates so that you can be reminded of what's coming. The due dates will be in Canvas, and they never change off of the syllabus. The reason that the course schedule is as busy as it is, and I wholeheartedly admit and know that is busy, and I have gotten that critique in the past, but it's busy because you never have to question about when something is due. It's color coded. It's set. Look at the schedule, and you'll know when it's due. About 28% of the points are going to be due from the deliverables for the team project. And so those are things that you develop as a team. And I'm going to tell you that this team project, I set it up so that teams are probably going to be spending an hour a week, and you will tap away at this project throughout the course of the semester. And it's designed so that generally you'll spend an hour, maybe an hour and a half some weeks on the project. And we'll talk about throughout this course of the semester. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things. I want to have a large overview so that kind of puts everything in perspective. So how we do concept mastery and chapter content, there are reading quizzes. They become available on Mondays at 8 a.m. and they close the following Mondays at 2 p.m., at which point they're due. There are weekly activities to achieve the content mastery and critical thinking. You're going to read your assigned chapters, watch your mini lectures, and take notes. And those videos have been redone recently. And you'll complete your module tasks, which are generally going to be due on Mondays at 2 p.m., occasionally Fridays at 2 p.m., if there's a discussion associated with them. So to achieve the core curriculum learning objectives, with communication and critical thinking, we're going to get to that with worldview essays, our module tasks, and the team project. Empirical and quantitative skills, there's a ecological footprint project, which starts this week and continues for the rest of the semester. There's module tasks. We'll talk about that ecological footprint here in a moment if need be. There's a team project for the team project, obviously. And then there's technical mastery. You'll get that through reading and mini lecture quizzes. So the ecological footprint, if you haven't started that, so all it is, I'm asking you to take a quiz that asks you to authentically and honestly gauge what your ecological footprint is. And then I would like you to select some aspect about your lifestyle that you're willing to track for the course of the semester. Some students tracked how many miles they drove. Some students track how many meatless meals that they ate in a week. Some students tracked, I think one student tracked their compost waste. So something you can track. You're going to track that data and you're going to create a graph at the end of the semester. So you need to track your data and you need to have a system for tracking your data. And there will be reminders throughout the course of the semester. Okay, so my inclusivity policy. So in this course, I want everyone to know that everyone has a value. Everyone has value and something to contribute. So please be respectful of different experiences, beliefs, and values expressed in the course. You are going to read other people's worldviews, and you will find that not everyone sees the world the way that you do, and that's fine. The point is that we want to be able to see that there are other worldviews out there and there are other experiences and everyone's experience has value. So I support A&M's commitment to diversity and I welcome all individuals. That's a long list. You can read it, but it's essentially everyone, every walk of life, everything. So I just want to just make everyone know that everyone's welcome and everyone has value here. So ways that you can help me with our inclusive learning environment. If you have a preferred name and or pronouns, would you please let me know so that I can know the most appropriate way to address you? Just an important thing. If you feel that your academic performance is being adversely affected by your experiences outside of class, please contact me sooner rather than later. I can help direct you to resources that are available to you as an A&M student, and I can help you with where I can within the course. So what's not helpful is knowing that you have a problem and waiting until week 14. I can't help you at week 14. I can help you at week 4. I can help you in week 5. I can help you in week 3. But if you wait until the very end of the semester and say, everything just fell apart this semester and I can't do that's not the time to tell me. So the time to tell me that there's a problem is early in the semester, and then we can work through something. Okay, we'll get you in touch with resources. I'm an Aggie ally, but I'm not perfect. So if something that's said has made you feel uncomfortable, please let me know. And I am trying to include a diversity of scholars in my class. If there are scientists, experts that you think would expand the viewpoints in the course, please let me know. If there's documentaries or something like that, I would love to know about that. And if you have other ideas on how to foster a more inclusive learning environment, I am all ears. Okay. And Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. I am an Aggie as well, and I know about elaborate, collaborate, and borrow. So I'm just going to tell you now, as a faculty, I'm bound to report academic dishonesty. I am required to do it. I don't know if you know this about A&M faculty, but it is a requirement. I can't just decide whether I want to or not. I am required to do it. What I have found is that sometimes students don't even know that they're committing academic dishonesty. And that's the kicker. That's what really hurts. And because they're going to be held accountable to a standard they might not understand. So that is why I have the academic honesty quiz or the academic dishonesty quiz. I'm going to tell you, it is not easy. I had one of my colleagues take it, and I don't believe he was saying nice things about me, because after his first attempt, he got 13 out of 21 and he was not so pleased. So don't be surprised. It is challenging. Make sure you read the instructions. If you've taken it 5 times and you're really struggling, please let me know. I don't want you to feel like you're banging your head against a wall. The point is for you to learn the standard and what it is that you're held accountable to, so you know when you're committing academic dishonesty and what counts as academic dishonesty, because I want you to know what you're held accountable to. Okay, I want to make sure that we have time for questions, so I'm going to move through. If you have a medically diagnosed disability, would you please meet with disability resources and then let me know if there are things that I can do to enhance your learning experience in this course? That would be super helpful. There are no exams that you need extra time for, but and the reading quizzes are unlimited attempts of 30 minutes. But if there's something that you need that I can provide, please let me know. You have access to the PowerPoints, you have access to the videos, you have access to captions, but if there's something, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help. Communication. It's best to email me through Canvas, but if not, kstoddard@tamu.edu. Either one will actually get to me. My formal address is Dr. Stoddard. FYI, it's Dr. or Professor Stoddard. I went to school for a very long period of time and I'm still paying my loans off. So I would like that doctor in the front part. So most of your professors, most of your instructors are probably doctor or professor. So make sure that you address them appropriately. If you email me inside of Canvas, please include a subject line. If you email me outside of Canvas, make sure that you put BESC 201, because I have 3 classes and about 200 students. So it's much easier to help you if you tell me where you're at. If we start a conversation, I will respond as quickly as I can. And if I ask you for something, if you would respond back, and then we can resolve the conversation as quickly as possible. And I generally respond very quickly Mondays through Fridays during working hours, and even in the evenings. But over the weekends, I'm less responsive. If you really need me on the weekend, Saturday would be the best day. I'm not checking my email much on Sunday because there's no due dates on Sunday by design. Okay, here's something that lots of students like. I have a contingency, no questions asked, 24-hour policy. What this means is that if you are having a hard time with whatever, something's come up and you can't get the assignments done that week or that for a particular day, you may use my contingent 24-hour no questions asked policy. This means that it applies for a day, not an assignment. So let's say you wanted to use it for this coming Monday. So what you would do is you would go in and you would fill out the Google contingent 24-hour no question asked policy form. The link is in the syllabus and it's on the homepage of our course. You would do that within 24 hours, no later than 24 hours of the due date. and indicate the assignment of the due date for which you're using that policy. So in the example that I'm giving, next Monday, you would put that date. So you need to complete the assignments within 24 hours of the due date for which you're applying that, okay? So if that's the case, then you would need to complete those assignments by Tuesday at 2 p.m. because things are always due at 2 p.m. So if you need to reuse the policy, you can use it up to 4 times. You need to complete another no question asked policy form. And if there are extenuating circumstances, please come talk to me. So I get a lot of questions about this. It applies to just about everything. The thing that I can't do is the feedback of the last stage of the peer review process. I'm just going to tell you, I set it up so that I set up the no question asked policy so that I don't actually even begin grading until the grace period has passed. So I assume, because I have so many students, that someone's going to use it. And so I don't actually start grading until I actually get to 2 p.m. on Tuesday. So the assignments are open because I'm assuming that someone's going to do it. Someone's going to need it. So I'm not actually grading until 2 p.m. on Tuesdays. So you don't have to ask me to open it. It's already available for you. But the peer review process, the peerceptive, is 3 stages. So the first stage is submit your assignment. The second stage is do your peer reviews. The third stage is give feedback to the students that you got peer reviews from. That stage I cannot extend just because that's how the peerceptive system works. I have no control over that. And because I have no control over that, that's the one thing that I can't apply this policy to because it's just not possible. The other thing would be the team project, like the deliverables at the end of the semester. If your team is in a pinch, please come talk to me and we'll work something out. So this is usually where the questions would come up. So questions about the no question asked policy. If you go to that form, I'm just going to tell you, you can click on the form and you can click on the link and it doesn't actually submit. You actually have to press the button to submit. I don't ask you why you need to use the policy, hence the no questions asked. So use it as you need. You can use it up to 4 times. And so that would mean that if you had like a quiz and a module task due on a Monday and you use this policy, you have now a 24-hour extension on those assignments. So you need to use the policy and submit the assignments within 24 hours of their due date. Okay. Now we're in the question and answer stage.
So I have a question.
Yes, please.
So say it's like Monday at 4 p.m. and you forget to use, you forget to turn in an assignment. So can you use it after the deadline?
Yes. Okay. So the point being, so let's go back and look at that. So you need to fill out that form within 24 hours of when the due date has passed. So the due date, let's just assume is Monday at 2 p.m. and you're saying Monday at 4 p.m. So that's within 24 hours. So go fill out that form and then spend the next 24 hours getting your work turned in.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Got a question. Okay, you're very welcome. I've discovered that there are, this really came about it started because of COVID. And I actually was thinking about it before COVID, but I've always had a fairly open policy with this, but I just decided to make it more known to students. But you are a student and there's so much, I'm teaching you as a full person. So that full person includes the work that you do, the job that you have, the family responsibilities that you have, stuff that you have to work through. And I want to make sure that you have the resources and support that you need to do well. So if there's if midterm week is coming around and like you're really pressed, use the policy. What I did want to also mention is I understand to some extent. I am also a student at this moment. I am in a professional development course in Canvas. So we are learning Canvas together. This is my 2nd semester using it, but I am also a student in Canvas. And I'm going to tell you, there are some things that I love about Canvas and there are some things that I don't. So I am also trying to do my coursework. I had to ask for an extension last week because I didn't get to it because I had a project at work that came up. But life is difficult and we're trying to balance in a lot of things. So I'm a student, you're a student. I'm trying to work together with you on this. So Canvas can be frustrating as well. So we'll work through Canvas together. Other questions?
Can you go over the tracking thing a little bit more? I was kind of
What tracking thing?
a little bit lost, like where you said that you had a student track their compost and stuff like that. I was
Okay. Yes. So yeah, the ecological, that is the ecological footprint project. So this week, you will go through a process to calculate your ecological footprint. And at the end, there's going to be, I've told in the instructions, I tell you to capture 2 screenshots. And if you follow the instructions, there are some buttons that you can press, and the calculator will actually give you some suggestions for how you can lower your ecological footprint. What I'm asking you to do is to think about something that impacts your ecological footprint that you're willing and you think you could manage to track for the course of the semester. So last semester, I had some students tell me, it's just the things that they decided that they could reasonably track. And so some students used like an app on their phone. They were tracking their meals. Like it was something they already did. They tracked their meals. And so they could track how many meatless meals they had in a week. Some students tracked how many times they carpooled, or some students tracked how many miles they drove. I think that was one of the ones that I gave. So it's something that you think that you can manage to track over the course of the semester. And if you want an additional challenge, something that you think you might be able to improve upon. But it needs to be something that you can quantitatively track.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, but regarding the coursework for this week.
Yes.
You're saying here that for Wednesday, we need to turn in something about a design thinking project team.
Let me go look at that. You know what we should do? Yeah,
and it's
keep
still
talking.
Wednesday, but there's no link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move over to a different share, and let's go look at the schedule for the week. Okay. So these are the things. Oh, let's pull up the schedule. Schedule. Go to the home page. And just if you ever ask me when something's due, I'm going to have to look at the schedule because that's why it's there. Schedule. So no, I'm sorry, I cannot pull everything off the top of my head just because I have too many classes and too many students and too many things that I'm managing. So that is why I have such a detailed course schedule. So this week, you will self-select a team by topic, and that is on Wednesday. And no, there's not a link yet because I need to look at all the topics that everyone submitted, and I need to whittle that down to the number of teams that will be available. So what's going to happen is I will look at your topics. I'm going to whittle those down to the number of teams that we need. I'm going to choose the topics that I think are most conducive for the project. And then I will open up the team link, and you can self-select. So we will have 5 students per topic. And so beginning on Wednesday will be when you would need to self-select for a team. And then at that point, you would start doing some background research on your topic. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. That's a great question. And while we're looking at the schedule, let's just have this discussion. I'm sorry that it is small. Let's see if I can make that bigger. No, I cannot. So sorry, I cannot make that bigger. So you'll notice there's really nothing you do need to self-select. And then you'll notice there's background research on the topic. That's just there to tell you that you should be working on it. It's not necessarily something that's due. So you'll see next week in week 3, there's more background research. Okay, so it's just something that you need to be working on. Next week, you're going to schedule a meeting with your team. You're going to discuss and plan an interview. I'm going to tell you that I generally put those things on Wednesday, but you can talk with your team about what day of the week works best for you. I will tell you, the feedback that we received last semester was teams, the successful teams, the teams that felt like the project went really well for them, were the teams that met regularly. So I have set it up so that teams will find a recurring time during the week that you will meet for 40 minutes to work on your team project. And that will be your workshop time. You will be actually doing the work that is needed for that week and for the rest of the project. So you'll do it together within a team. And you'll notice that it says on Wednesday on the calendar, but that's just a suggestion. So it could be Tuesday, it could be Thursday, whatever works best for your team, but you need to have a recurring meeting that's going to be really helpful for the success of your team. Okay, other questions? Okay, am I going to have more of these 8:30 Monday meetings, or is my office hours only my office hours? Okay, so you might have noticed that in Canvas, or not, sorry, Canvas, in Howdy, there are multiple meeting times. Those are not exams. Obviously, we don't have any exams. I'll have more 8:30 meetings, and usually it has to do with the team project. That's often what students have the most questions about. We will do some more 8:30 meetings. It's the only time, I think it's the time that most people seem to be available. So there will be more of those, and we'll schedule those as needed. And so don't worry about that. So you have my office hours. If there's other times that you need to meet, then you can talk with me, and we can find a different time if that's not working for you. And there will be more 8:30 meetings, especially when we get to there are some parts of the project that I think need some extra clarification, and we'll spend some time there. We'll have some 8:30 meetings for that, but it won't be every week. You're welcome. Okay, other questions? This is the homepage. Notice you can get to a lot of things. There's syllabus here, academic resources, university resources. I think this goes to my office hours. I also have my office hours right here. This is the link for the 24-hour no questions asked contingent policy. If you haven't looked over this, I highly, highly, highly recommend you read over the design thinking project, just to give you some idea. I just want to let you know, it's going to seem confusing. It's going to seem like, why am I doing this? But you get to the end and you think that was a really interesting way to come about a creative solution. So the process is what I value. So you'll notice that you're not working on your deliverable on week 3. You're working on steps that lead to it. So I am very interested in the team process and the design thinking process. And through that process, we'll get to the deliverables. So please read over that. Something else I wanted to mention. So in this week, I want to make sure that everyone looks over something. Here we go. Perceptive explained. Sorry. Perceptive explained. Yes, Perceptive explained. I will tell you that I created that when my course lived in eCampus. So things are a little bit different now that we're in Canvas, but the system is exactly the same. The interface changed in January. It's a little more user-friendly. It's a little more straightforward, but make sure that you look over that so you understand the process. I want to stress that students do not grade students in my class. Students peer review, you provide scores, you provide feedback, and that feedback, those scores are used through some very complex algorithms and my grading and Jensen's grading to create scores. And I will tell you that I have looked at the data for 5 years, and the scores usually are in the favor of the student, or actually always in the favor of the student through Perceptive. Students often feel like well, if my peers are scoring me, then my scores are going to be bad if they do a bad job. That's not how the system works. It accounts for discrepancies. It accounts for inconsistent grading, or I'm sorry, inconsistent scoring. And there are checks and balances along the way. So, and if you ever have a concern, you're more than welcome to bring it up to me, but I will tell you that the system flags anything that looks suspicious or anything that's conflicting, like conflicting scores, it flags it, and we check that out. And I will say that if you have concerns about your grade, you're more than welcome to come talk to me. And I will let you know that I will happily score. Like if you feel that your overall score was adversely affected, so much so by your peers, I will tell you that the likelihood that can happen, it doesn't really work that way. So I just want to explain the system a little bit while I have you all here. So I can see right now, I can see Russell, and I'm just going to use your names because this is the people that I can see at the moment. So I can see Brenna, Dana, and Russell. So let's say Russell turns in his essay, and Dana and Brene and Preston all score him. But Brene rushed through. I'm sorry, Brene. You had a busy week and you didn't do everything that you're supposed to do. You didn't read carefully, and you gave Russell lower scores than he really deserved. And so Russell is now thinking, oh dear, what's going to happen to my score? I'm going to let you know that her scores are going to weight less because they're off compared to their peers and to me. And that is not going to bring your grade down. So the system accounts for those things. And what I do is I grade throughout, and I ultimately create the curve by which the grades are distributed. So there's checks and balances along the way. Students end up with much higher grades through Peerceptive than they otherwise would, because you have the opportunity to earn points throughout the system. So I'll tell you, even if you can't submit your assignment, even if you can't turn in your worldview, you still can earn points because you can still do peer evaluations. So it's the most forgiving system. Like if I didn't have this and you didn't turn your assignment in, then you would have just lost 50, 55, or 60 points. But now there's so many different ways you can earn points. So I'll just let you know about that.
Sorry, Russell, I didn't mean to.
I will also say that I know how the system is cheated, so please do not do that either. So make sure that you provide honest peer evaluations and that you put an honest work in. Okay. Other questions? We're getting very close to 10 o'clock, which is my bedtime. So I'm happy to stay on until 10, but that's when I'm gonna cut it off. And so if you have more questions, you can email me or you can come to my office hours. But I'm here for you until 10 o'clock. And if you have no more questions, you are more than welcome to sign off. And I am so happy to have seen you all and had you join us for this meeting. And I'm looking forward to a great semester with you all. We'll get through another COVID semester together. It'll be okay.